is Buadu TV. Truth and integrity.
The nurses and the doctors on duty as at that time, please, respectfully, call them or prosecute them. Dr. B and a nurse B and a OB, medical practitioner B, and they saw you in the Juma 1 year, and a massa audition of Frimono. Say me better say who and I said, what shall baby nurse you will appreciate the pain.
Baba, I what's a pa, what's a pa, that what's in this was I no can. JB say, nurses and doctors, health workers are no more sabreno. Woman share my mini year or 2 and said no. Yam prosecute yomo. Emma in Yamasa, Yasaki see you dear, but Emma Yera minta a candle, Emma Nenson, I want to so. Na nurses are no duty no more tenase. Emma ni pani free mono, or more and prosecute yomo. Na suddenly been to us and a JB can unpack because who say your one. Necessary be ye duma pa, but the bin so what? I must want you muka man for so pa. I must swore. Any draining quassasemunti or muka man for pa. A wire sabi bin so ye juma. Eti JB 7 wa fire there from let it be a batten tintin second what. You will come and meet a candle, time of go on in some more canina. Drop. Yankwati. One woman near hospital, no quack. Okako hospital. It broke me down in tears. Okako no yetro. What was request form near the church room draw the man. Aha. Na Dr. Nanya daje one trouble for that so. No church go sa we no so sa no wie asobehwe na so hwe no. I say you would see virtually nothing. Eko wi akire maame a okọ hospital. On one and not to call ye. Yet see ya, no mammy no, ashrin and qua, on the Acolani ewu. Now, hospital also so report on what they buy and different. You see, hey, Kofuba come truck a siapa, doctors. Hey,
they will protect their people.
Yes. And Kofuba and the Kuba you a Kuba obu time drop pa because of them so why body. Now the body no because you don't need any medical background. You don't have that medical background, so you're not able to express yourself the medical way. It's most of the doctors even can't draw their torso. Some of the doctors, but can say doctors for no binom. Here, Koma, let me say, without any fear or favor, there are a lot of doctors who are so fantastic.
Of course.
They are so super, they are better. Your doctors who are more here, unya who na pena oyere no kra tu ayra. Because they will be see akasa kyerɛw. They will be see aye no ho de akyerɛw. Any kwan you be fast way treat you no. Ja, o ho beton tentem. But there are some doctors who have more grow more. Deliberately, meaning some of them are political doctors. And they will deliberately kill you. Of course, oh, you hear me, Sabi. So say here now, oh, you know, what's the matter here? Who this can't what doing here there? So you go to the hospital, nobody be able to say, and Jay my woe, no more soon at DP. Or can send the actual wine. Meanwhile, a dry, ye demand no, those are ye demand no, and then Yama would wear Kahuni now, and I contributed to the death of that person. But when the Kokasa same way. Me, I'm a lecturer back at university, not some psychology. Nere, hey, I go to some way, me money din. Nere the neck hospital, a catcher doctor, that for doctor, a confining and that for doctor say, Nikuna Bodam. Just like that. because they had misunderstanding they will feel. And a doctor invited Nikunu. Or invited Nikunu, why yet any form of test be and no one about them for panier. I am telling you this. Or one about them for panier. Emma, a branch of a young man, very young, nice, beautiful, handsome man. Me so tell me now no pay. Now, or what about that for panier you know? Tago, this gentleman, this young, vibrant man, or worry 2 weeks, this is about less than 2 weeks or 3 weeks after, and as I did we see here. A branch look at that form, a boo ye. Emma not doing your basa because they are one about that for panier, just because on your misunderstanding with the wife, and the wife happens to be related to a certain medical doctor, and of catch any test. Now, a hospital, one of the biggest hospitals in Ghana, and as I said, we see a person more hospitals in the day. It happened right. I will Ghana how to say. And my brother no struggle yeah no because on one the call you no kwatro adro the man doctor dey adro man say kwakwato say adro we fa bra. And I say me buy all run me test bia. And then I'm say we school wako school kakra owo ni je kakra nti. Adro no kwato buy no kwato wie ya okin kan adro no and who say adro we ase. Oh we are doctor dey awo no.
Oh, na sa won't fa panier wo bi sa. E was no. Wo be wo kra mpasho me wo panier na or
but that didn't happen.
Oh how?
Because ne yure akọ catch the doctor and say ni kunu abodam.
Oh no.
It will I am sure still that's what court. So I don't want to go into details, but I could be actually no. For more than a year, more than a year, I think 2 years or so. Now lecturer no ego so battle for his life. Because obi a worry for none of the real issues. Eventually I worry go. I worry after 3 weeks of prepare that issues start to say about.
Any bantem.
Oh, that's a chill at the end of fast. Fast. After 3 weeks, and the issues start to say about. And that's how they will see here. Here, I brought him the battle yeah for his life, sir. Not because of anything, but because of pandemic any kind of war, no. I feel baby, or yeah, Juman po. Yeah, because you say, what damn to what about that for pandemic. But this gentleman that I know is so fit enough. I just don't need any other complications. Of course, our rebels have the baby quiet. Obuko Hwehwemu hospital let's say Hwehwemu ni ade. And I personally, me and my man a friend say, my man a lawyer or pursue that case at the man. Na fe ade the way I didn't see corona abrate na dwe na ya ate afaso. Because frustration setting in. And then be brave etochima e ma fe na abrante na ye ha no be di mpo na sebe na ye de nipa o kire ade wo university young guy wa wie school ya bo no hoka wa wie school o da the best papa bi mu no chade wo university no kokko worry that because of certain situation na doctor anya no test bia no akọ na bodamfo panie na branti afio na ma no togu so kakra sa asem no ase ko ase bola suja ase se bi mikrofo asa eko nanim kakra na ba na chi ebo na chi kakra na ko nanim sa ma wetre sam enyante ho hwe se doctor edi obi bone a wan e na ka mokrum ha ekwa be na de be fa so. Because you cannot treat it as criminal. And how do you even go about it? Because who are some in predators? Who are here? What's someone here there? Baby, I have a beer. Who don't know more? Becca just said, now what's every cry? Say, Nipa no the echo chambers, Nipa was catching. How can I Meti ai. Na me ne Kolebu teaching hospital anya asem. Na me ne 37 military hospital anya asem. Me ne Comfort teaching hospital anya asem. Me ne Tamale teaching hospital anya asem. Na me say me master me Debro Sunti. I mean, they will frustrate you. Because who this guy the betray man so. And a lot of people have lost their lives because of certain situations beyond their control. Kemamia last year, yes, ambulance meets and send me a copy. You didn't go to Muram.
Central Region.
Central Region. Oh, yeah. And I remember clearly that Kumasi and Chebia. Woman Bakubi or Opokuwari, and him more. One night, around by 10. No poor you are coffee. Nana Madafu Bakuye, I mean, police in your checkpoint for Nibi. So I decided to pass by was Santase. Me drew on one of the ambulance service personnel. And the back police in the say, ah, yeah, the mammy be a 2 room or hand musei. And mammy is mammy never was so sad 50 Satan not till now. And I've been named Madame for police in your call honor. You drew honor. Jesus Christ. Hey! Ni Pedersen ni. And automatic channel what to say Sabi. I didn't be any. And you are not 2 room. Ewo was a new honor. There's a certain hospital be a person body. Ewo was sa company new honor. That's our hospital no to man. Etich the sa woman.
Mistaking so me.
Because on one that didn't buy ya the baby 200 more. Adaya, mammy no car born no. I'm a neighbor hospital. Only busu any beer. Or better hospital Honoma as say the bills are cost runty. Ye nya da dia. Obia enter the hospital bills inti. Yam copper baby fan and toe. Let that be 2 poku worry. Or was and then one more pair. So when I saw that, I told them that hey, I am taking this matter up. Not so he says as we they call as a social welfare. They call other places. I'm about a woman. I'm saying, hey, it's in the Panagri Yente to some predecessor. Or the crisis say doctors are here now. No, why do you despise people like that? I don't hear Musa. Emma gradually, almost Adajona. I'm a family free hospital. My friend hospital administrator. I'm a family free hospital. As I didn't come back to the hospital. To go. To my biggest surprise, 2 days after, that woman. We hear the answer. Mwana kwa kebiamano. Bob Rob was saying, went that hospital for so many months. Mwana kwa kanasem diamano. And a lot of people have bitter experiences. They've lost breadwinners of their families just because of medical negligence. I will do that.
It's not easy.
With the permission of the producer. Yeah. I will do that. Unim, medical negligence is one of the most dangerous things ever. Share, obi or shefie. I shouldn't not because yare no de kwa na extraordinary yare be betumi akunipa. But okọ ye no. Fofia ntoata. Enyema bia ye de man no ne yare oh kaboni do bia de man no na manipa kwa na hwede nkwakwa. You see, we are in a country where esi e mamra eye adwuma. I am asking this question because a lot of Ghanaians do not know say you call hospital as soon as you be hospital that's why say I'm the chair what we call patient's charter. What's that? What's that?
Yeah. Na ukwa krampo na sometimes ebia wo so mo try bi ho no a na after say wa collab wa ba obusa so ebia doctor dey in the hame no bebre enka nkyerɛ
now
and na kwa de ye kakra fast ne de
me say the wo be say the nim dia kyerɛ no
yes
as a Ukraine ya de bomba so ma no no
you don't even have that right and na de ye kakra ne nkrofo ani bi e banti nkrofo busa
Tago, trust you me
they will not tell you.
Most of the hospitals, especially the teaching hospitals, they are Ghana. They are more political. It's a man you might cost for 100 time. for the benefit of clarity and doubt. Miesha dan komu mako na kofo Ghana for and it says wato. Almost everywhere in Ghana. Into obia wo fie ehwe no problem. Your bibia for the patient's charter. It is the responsibility of the hospital to the patient. And the responsibility of the patient to the hospital. It's about I think 15 or 16 of them. But baby, I am a deck say power woman say. The hospital, any moment of a hospital, you receive the hospital owes you a duty of care. That is the fundamental issue. If I was here, and now yes, and now won't be, and so won't be. That hospital owes you a duty of care. That is the basic responsibility of the hospital. But hey, today a lot of people have died because when they come up for Obi actually the breadwinner of the family, because hospital not in the year, but okokana sem e de akire hwan. Why do okokana sem akire no? Doctors, most of the doctors, some of the doctors here for Munko court, when they are Munko court, not just the system itself will frustrate you. It's a man you might be a hard more. Say, I'm Shania, Saya, and then I must say, and for the very first time in the history of our republic, let me say a very big thank you to the health minister. Yera, Kwabena Mita Kando. Yera, me sure say asama me came. Ghana for do na me be ya adwen. Na Ghana for do na so se me nyina omwonam na me kan job say oboda wase pa. I am told the side Tamale teaching hospital to see where you are. I don't like saying, are responsible for the death of that person. Doctors are no more details at that time. They should be prosecuted as soon as possible, so that they can find out the cause of the Pakoni Wu. Every hospital informs so, and every doctors inform so. Ebi so na ye patient na nkasa na ebi anyame ato sa frɛ no. Ebi so na kade a ye se ye de hwɛ no na kade sa na ebi ni hɔ no bo. But udim, I remember say minya akwanhyia, minya accidents. So back about 7 years ago, kotoko accident na see here no. I was part of it. Na doctors mienu ti no mo ye nurses, ba ko ye doctor, ba ko ye nurse. Na nurse ni prayer, in fact doctor ni nurse mo ni prayer. E de susu ye prayer. But me who send na moja yunu ima, your friend ima. Oba, I salute you. These are very fantastic guys. Na moja yunu no. But opa me hu achi e be hwe ye ya na ye da for ma. Na ye timi ye ho hwe. I asked him one simple question. Me na was after na ye this oba. Na that who preacher ye. Why are you doing this? No, say look. It is my core responsibility to take care of people like you. Because sekobase akwesiana echi ye hwehwem ne ehusa metimu ne prano me prano enye so severe na metimi ahwe na senkofo ehwere won kwa me krata to me krata ye de mam ne be jeffrey minsem. And I was like, really? I remember so clearly. Otusana mono epa ne ho achi, but they say obi wo ho no wa nanta ko hospital o but me amafie biem. Yeah. Ya obi wo ho no akasa na tu anamo enante sebu papa eko hospital, but when to me assign amafie, not because ebia na ne yare na no wode, but because of a certain negligence of duty be a doctor be and a nurse be here. Hey, and si e ka say e bie phone night atumu a obeti kofo a this is ahodo e bebo obudi wo krom ha obeti doctors ahodo a kofo ebo obudi wo krom ha no say ebisi wo rejara meboa. Of course, I mean so many incidents as see wo krom ha no say, But first of all, me sure say some be pray as a minuanom, me ma me no minuanom ene ye manom ne ye nim ehihye a ewo ho no mo ase ye kwaya resa bia e say e de ye di so. So there is a certain embra anasa responsibilities bu ho no mo a ye kwaya resa bia e say hospital no ye de hwe. That is what we call patient's charter. Mumye nya da agenda kenkan no mako. Producer, if I have your permission, please. Yema gara for you now. Now, you will be a friend patient's charter. This is it. The patient's rights. The patient's rights. Now, patient's rights, you know, is so simple. I say, the patient has the right to quality basic health care irrespective of the patient's geographical location. Sir, obi a oyare a waba yare sabia ekwan bia ohono mo sɛ saa nipa kro no esa doctor fo ana nurse fo ana hospital beko bia no eso ye hwɛ no emfa ho ni baby ofri ba sɛ sabi brothers of na brongo anu abakum ase anu ababeka konforote a esi ye hwɛ no sɛ sabi brothers of tumu anu abankran de esi ye hwɛ no because that is how it is. Number 2, the patient is entitled to full information on the patient's condition and management and the possible risk involved, except in emergency situation when the patient is unable to make decision and need for treatment is urgent. We netete in an say koba se yare na no ayedin nipa na oyare no owo ho kwase so hu ade eye no ene ba bia ne yare na kwakoduru na esafwe wo mu ne se gi se ebia na otimi kasa anase ye bisa na sema he is not in that right position, he is not in that right thinking frame of mind that obetimi taking that decision for himself or herself. Sani pankwane de ye man kwai e ma da busu ni bra beginem. Number 3, the patient is entitled to know of the alternative treatment and other health care providers within the service if may contribute to improve outcome. Sani way na no nya hospital on mo say cream. Na hospital na throw din or card. Ye throw din ya ma card. Sunday man when they say hospital no, and make sure say, wo now your patient now your yaro for there do wako horomo no. Wo you are entitled to every single decision the hospital makes on your behalf. And you are entitled to ask any question at all. Number 4, the patient has the right to know the identity of the caregiver and other persons who may handle the patients, including students, trainees, or auxiliary workers. It is a me that ayaresabia. It's a me who questions me bisa say, Dr. Ben Eshame, next ni Ben Eshame, ni person message your friend say, "One more cham we sham nano." I am entitled to know their names and to know who they are and what they will contribute to my health care. I am entitled to it. Number 5, the patient has a right to consent or decide to participate in the proposed research study involving the patient after a full explanation has been given, and the patient may withdraw at a stage of the research project. Say, the way you are able say, yare no e kro na me akasa me ya we se ba bia me yare ya duri de metimi akasa okay me se mabre me pese yare no beto aso biem and the treatment beto aso biem a he odo wo ho kwa se so to be ka se me de me na me ka se me yare me de mu aba mo sa so enja me life man na me kofie. That patient has a right to decide to make that decision. Number 6, the patient who declines to participate in or withdraw from the research project is yes, it's entitled to the most effective health availability, or that is health available, the healthcare available. So maybe we order some the same who had do me not research na some ya dia fa me ho no me hu ne said that be baby we order ba me ntiase na baby we order say me bisa questions na still na ntiase anya dwuma me wo ho kwai kwasa still na say doctors fo nya da je no mo hwe me, because this is the responsibility of the hospital to the patient. The patient has a right to privacy. This is one of the most important things. Therefore, we are losing sight in these days. We have the right to privacy during consultation, examination and treatment, and in cases where it is necessary to use the note of the patient's case for teaching and conferences. The consent of the patient must be sought. Sekoba say, me JB na by virtue of the fact say be a maba TV sunti. Eti doctor no Mako hospital e dey say me wo yare bia anu odin eye krankro na doctor no etimi aka say bia wo kira de obabi no wasaso de midin e dey kwa kira de obabi. No. Oh yes sir. Etiamra na ensuse won say so person use midin and so ka kire nkofo say ebia yare say and ade me example a bisa me ma me ntime ho ase na me ma go ahead na sana what me ade midin ayesa fa to ho no. Number 9. Okay, let's go to number 8. The patient is entitled to confidentiality of information obtained about the patients, and that information shall in our constitution, at the hospital, they said, shall not disclose to the third party. Say me Abraham the hospital. Now Dr. Nakacha say, yare we the have me, and I mean bisa doctor say yare be the tinte me. And Dr. Nakacha be say okay bia yare A, B or C. And the Nakacha say, even though me Abraham and the hospital, but men can't say Abraham. Maybe one question say me catch doctor, say me catch Abraham. That's a doctor no so jini wachi no catch Abraham. Doctor de tiamra. Wo bu brother so. To the third party without the consent of the patient, or the person entitled to act on the consent of the patient, or the person entitled to act on behalf of the patient, except where the information is required by law or is in the public interest. To say be a seven brothers as some pay in the area, and now say be a vice presidency area. Now say a woman here say God of one we are require a higher president. I mean by law, if it is by law, it's a God of one who. But say me, I me tell how to say. Now because my doctor didn't catch them, Miss Abraham say, yare we na hamia. Now doctor could catch Abraham say, yare we na hamia. Na nyamra kwa so a. Maybe who can say me do kwa just Dibia. Ha! Ghana how to say there's one fundamental issue here we do not know. Emra e Ghana ha pa, but they find adwuma. Sa samu to wa. Ebeka se emra ni ha. Number 9, the patient is entitled to the relevant information regarding policies and regulation of the health facilities that the patient may attend. It's here, some people was a man. When you do hospital, a say hospital attendant for no receptionist for that, and I said your mom provided OPD service, and now some more, a say your mommy rules and regulations. I want hospital, nah. Now, Obia till wants to say, and a patient till wants to say, Debbie, this is my area. I cannot go beyond this area. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. I can. Oh, what limitations we will more. But say, who can't tell me? Not the people who move Raswa. Only one question is, oh, punishment me because. No, how am I supposed to know the rules and regulations within your hospital? Until your patients not said yet. Say, doctors for no one man, yes, say this say, and they say see. And I said this say, and Mraya Shisha to had the Musaini. But how many of you, or how many of us, and the hospital about me, I catch her say, hospital said, yes, she said, what had money? What to be that? Oh, Ghana. No way. Come on. Yeah, it was so. So you see, you want now Ghana how? You want to say, I will come how to say, but I'm not saying, yeah, yari. I yen medical practices biano. Yen ni south yeah, I said, yes, I knew your washing. Ye hear say yari, dear, quite a sabia. Ye do hold more. I want to yen tea. You conform to everything. Near Jaya, when your mother doctors and I are a sabia for no more so treat you anyhow. It is something previous up. Or be to be called hospital pa. No pray, no cocoa pra, no the aba, no the abafi. Or be the something previous up. Yado A at the call hospital. Or by no cry A B. No good I had for. Are because hospital no, I'll call you no. Hospital now you due diligence. But the moment over boss to say, hey, me right in here. Me buy the yare where na me wo. I feel the other body yare we be any na se for the aka ho. The aka just say, hey, oh ya hwan. That the hospital will intimidate you and frustrate you to the point to say, what hwe ya eno anu no team keja. Now that's what I want say do. Na ewia de ade ba ku bia e be tai wo wiase mu ha. Say nyame na ade ba nyame na agye. Hey, what a catch now. Who told you that? Say nyame na ade manu na agye. No, that's never been like that. It's say nyame cha wade. No was catch us say ade na me da cha me jima de. How is that possible? A purely negligence of duty. A purely medical negligence. And a lot of people have suffered because of medical negligence. A lot of people, thousands of people in our country almost suffer because of pure medical negligence. But the fundamental truth is that they come up for any wine. Come up for any wine. Only come up for. So, say assembly tuna. Nasa onyo bia sabe efie bibi kakra ho mo a. Ye de no fo sa o nyame na de mo no anaje we de yenjama nyame we de enye hwe sa ne de nsem bi de twhwa ho sa na sa hospital na say yaro sabia no e kosoa e mankofo e hwere won kwa for no reason. How is this possible? But we go elsewhere. Utu kwa baby a baby I did talk to your home bebre. Baby I did your home say you boy your home sabrani bebre. These things happens and they face the full rigor of the law. But what about this part of our world? What about this part of our country where everything goes? Oh yare na oko ayare sabia na asem toa na to sa kwa. I can't just about three. You go through the three. Near the responsibility of the patients as well. Yeah. May never see the Honorable Health Minister. You know, and I'm tempted to believe, sir, that brain because none be of the Kromo Eba or your question or question. You have never took for not teaching hospital. Now, there's one thing you need to know. Let's establish that fact. Say, be me. I will be any me, and I'm a year here, and I'm in your question that they may call hospital. Na Kadia Nebesi. Ebia na. Yeah, they return to Sabasa, they will pay attention. As Omeko Kwasabia, they pay attention to you, be say. What the sad is how the hot one team Kejana call. Near Kajas on Yaminko. But Ebia no so yeah, politician team. Let us give him that maximum attention. Nehemiah is survival from the accidents. And when that happens, there are other consequences to it. If you don't know you're known here, but I can be no me anywhere. Because at the end of the day, somebody see, let's see negatively and mawa, there is no person who will stand in for you. Only camophobia. And this is happening right here in our country called Ghana. Where people are dying and there's no reason to the death of the people, those people. And for you said that need the reason why the person died. Near said that actual autopsy report to say yare we ne ku no nye yetumi twa ntro de tro efunu so because efunu ntumi nkasa. Me eja da jeni go through the medical the patient's charter. The last 3 of them. Now, the last 3, number 9. The patient is entitled to the relevant information. Okay, but that's our normal way. Number 10. Procedures of complaints. Procedures of complaints, disputes, and conflict resolution shall be explained to the patients or the accredited representatives. It is a command say, walk to hospital, I go konya assembly, and I say, I are the cohort, no konya yarfu frobi, at the aba, and I want show ye, and I be before from yes. It just say, hospital they are aware. But when I was a match, but you know, there are procedures for hold more. They said that so suggestion was they are two or more baby. And they said that information service center baby. Go and explain to them. And mind you, the more you explain, I just don't know, I don't get it. What's up now? They quiet. What we have until one. We could be a waka say who say I quite no by you whom crana to say you Johnny. But I'm now horse share or horrible say it's out to me there. Every hospital man here. It is a hospital of compensation here. Yeah, they compensate too. Because ye the conform a bro horrible. Now must say pressure the air one. Omonya mojamruso. Mojamruso near come on diabetes and drew. It has happened so many times at most of the hospitals across this country because nurses funny binom and doctors funny binom. And situations best known to them. It's be taking decision be one more and one for them. Now finally, exemptions facilities shall be made known to the patients. Exemptions to say you wait there say we you treat you ha. Saji we yenye wo ha. Saji we yenye wo ha no musenti say ma wo ya aware say we dey say eburo yeso a ba bia no bekodi. There are exceptional situations. And no say ma wo a we ye yare for na ba ho no say ma wo ya aware say saji we e wo ho no mo. Say ma wa nya aware. Na say ko ke bia da Kolebu Teaching Hospital but we na da 37 military hospital la. You see that something should happen. Something should happen. But in real cases, it becomes virtually not talk about. The patient is entitled to personal safety and reasonable security of properties within the defines of the institutions. What do you cost about me? Now, if you have the real issues, we need a confines of this institution. Now, the patient has the right to second medical opinion. This is one of the most important things you should pay attention to. Or say, the patient has the right to a second medical opinion if the patient so desires. Abraham Moya Hospital. Doctor said, "Yare way out there. This was your surgery. Who quite said that be doctor? Yabutrasa. Mami ko doctor for da me fa sa yare way fan kire no. Say surgery now can say doctor no so e be suggest the same surgery dey amame a. And now say yare da me dey call ye no. Yes akoko ye hwehwemu oba be fufuro. Ne ye fa dey to say the same yare na. You have that right to seek an opinion. But how many of us? And they went to me, I could catch the doctor say, Doctor, wait there, say, we are, oh, Casamania, dear, Mentias, hey, and a lot of people, a lot of people are draw the wrong dosage, and they go and I say, so many complications. A lot of them have died. But see, oh, yeah, send brother, oh, yeah, you're for Nako Hospital. One, I never quite saw Yema Hospital do when say you provide full and accurate medical history for diagnosis, treatment, counseling, rehabilitation purposes. Bobadia Okwa Sashi so this so. Number 2, request additional information or clarification regarding the patient's health and treatment which may not be well understood. So doctor dey pay any extra information because the doctors sometimes probe further. Omo probi ebisa yare bia krada bia wo history bi and a family yare bia or whatever it is. And these are responsibilities of the patients. But a fundamental issue, and they say, the moment I enter into a certain hospital, that hospital owes me a duty of care. And found it be free, and found it be free, but and found it a casa maker, and it's a hospital no there, because that is the duty of the hospital. Once I go into that medical facility, they owes me a duty of care. But how many of us? Any names are the way? How many of us? Any names are the way? And I am happy. Send the Ministry of Health a call unannounced visits. Is it Tamale Hospital? I call Tamale Hospital. Now, what this year every mono. Enya kukudro. I call Minister. I call say, Minister, we are sensing something very funny. We are sensing something that is funny. Yet this should be a film now. Wait, dear, a kind of how to film the adrenaline why you it is a sound that said, yeah, Yera, Hushemumaye. Oh, yeah, but you, Sandy Pacron, yeah, but you. Because the processes and the procedures leading to acquire a fast usually Pacronum. Sunday money now is one documented that will hold more. It's a hospital, no other, because under no circumstance. Enna, member hospital. Say you shame. Na you do hard more. Na nurses for num binom. Na doctors for num binom. Kokwasa. As you show. Na say that tron maybe at the amount. In draw see at the amount. Yeah, more the right dosage. As or no, when your issue be with fear. Na doctors and nurses for num binom. Deliberately they are killing people, innocent people, because of their actions and inactions. And that is the more reason why. And I don't pay. I'm a maniabre. Bebre assisi of most hospitals, big hospitals, because at the end of the day, Abraham will come out for the wine. Me, I make us come out for the wine. Sika bayin na me de kwakofa lawyer. I'm a lawyer, then Dimasem, or the Colabuti Hospital, and Yasem, and now say you're the 37 military hospital, and on the call for not cheap, and now say you're the Tamale hospital. Sikabe Kwana me wa. Me de Quaqua, yes, I'm the Quaker Sam away. Me came me this year free. Me came the breadwinner of the family. Yashan ye, I'm the free were free more horrible. Never can say, Yamin Edemon one edge, and we are Cassatan time we are in pay with Yasimuha. How can God give you something and take it back? But everything happens out of negligence. And when it happens, doctors, any I am deeply sorry. There has been certain situations, instances where yes surgery, ya pie obium, and now say be a pie baby, and your man yes surgery, they be a candy paconi nipediem. I'm a nipacona so far, and you nipacona from so, and your nurses for Nibinum, and the doctors for Nibinum, and from so. But at the end of the day, quiet, but that's what I catch say, doctors the crowd, or yes, I don't know, if you're now patients, you better not control their torso. You get it? It's so painful. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so painful. Hey, yeah. So you go through certain situations like this. And I can say, Naka anya kwadubenya tentsene. Na naka no crowd to joke a crack. I'm more come above from Naka Busiano crack. I say, oh, when dear, why are dear? Even though if I had shared from my dear, but at the more way I want to know, I am a papa, but Sadiano and Tessie, Ewagaraha. Medical negligence is killing a lot of people, and nobody has a say. Medical negligence is killing a lot of people, and nobody has a say. It is sometimes, I don't blame the politician. Say, oh, Yaria, no, two quackman on this, or Yaria. Yes, it's all call. Or because I want to see her, or the chairman, doctors, for no binom. And now some nurses will play, they come grow just like that. No, come on. Because they have never experienced some of these nurses before, some of these doctors before, some of these medical facilities before. Eti sakobani sana na kwa say that be all for the kwato chacha oni second life bia into ne 2 years or pineapple no dimrika no kwa South Africa no kwa Germany no kwa London or say doctors am wo mo de because na say be ya mbeti e be cha say na mo ati mo de before say mbeti no o de mo ni ka hwe me na me ho nto me and you see abrofo hwe your doctors be so fantastic. I am telling you, go to these big hospitals. Some of the doctors will conspire against their fellow doctors. And nobody is willing to talk about it. Because when they question them, they have to be doctors be to be I did a doctor way a dear on one a kusa ni pakrono, but why the kwako kama ni pakro? Mr. Kobna Mita Kando. Enra. Near see what Tamale Teaching Hospital. Odo Sasha Kratasia Pamu, the CEO of Tamale Teaching Hospital. And me, I support you 100%. Because when I call you now, who conditions are now till summer. The primary duty of every doctor is to make sure say yarefo be bad ho ne hwato no. There are exceptional cases that were horrible. But there was a banter. Horrible. Yes, Health Minister can not see you. Oh, but you see, sometimes the will of the people must prevail. Yeah, don't want to kukudra. I bet we are confronting your ministers and now your politicians and your paying for money. And you say, hey, honorable, and our boss. I said when they see us, when they see us, some impress us. Yet the February who be the say you say, who pay the biana. It's all brown once and the mass up in chrono. It's a some question of Bukran and I'm so you're paying it. Then they carry all day. I was a four, but this chef free men come yao. Nyame efa nipa krono mabusuan mo de hye no kransie but why ya dear aye nyame so adwuma by telling the minister that hey Mr. Minister ade why ya de hye ba hospital ye dear e mo hwam kaka mo hwehwe mo mayen no because if I do not have any medical background not a sub imprediasa me bobo but obi bobo wo park so na so bo ne ye minim hwe metimi a kire say nipa krono bobo. The doctor ne ya de na say yam from so a metimi a kire say doctor we die wanye ne ye we die na kwa so ano no but we die wanye ne ye and some of these things it doesn't take a lot to know na kasi esi na kapemfo akọ so akọ na for whatever reason onwa na nantikọ yo onwa make at Tamale Teaching Hospital there no but a situation that happened in Kumasi. Na ode doctor ne didi nkomo a ne ya won panie be kwakọ wi akire wetre sam na mame ne bani na ewu for whatever reason why na ni kunu baaya na ya sheda through report bi aka say owo underlying sickness illness bia yare bia brother hey me say some of them maybe try throw their toes so ma wan hwe ya over be hope for the rest of your life sometimes we watch road this year. What's so this guy the tremanson? Some of these things, Ebianento. Do I want to say me was the day? Yes, me was the day. But a da with this ship be free. Nanye a free ebia onwa na njame aheda ato sadia fra na bia a medical negligence. Doctor B and a nurse B and a obi medical practitioner B and they saw ye na juma wan ye ni ye and na massa audition na free mu no say me beto say wusu and I say o she baby na say wusu you will appreciate the pain. America say not because it is your guarantee a brand new juma and a guarantee ye share see nya enkofo ne sa nyema we bia. Say wait, and then the Tamale teaching hospital, Yapamu see you. And I'm also advocating, say, the nurses and the doctors on duty as at that time, please, respectfully, call them or prosecute them. The nurses and the doctors on duty as at that time, the logic complaints, say, doctors not the please let them present themselves and prosecute them. You might run anyone need because yes, sir. Ekofo would just like that. ABS was a home hospital. ABS was Cape Coast. ABS was Takrade. ABS was Range Hospital. ABS was Kumasi. ABS is so many places. Ewa ye memu ha. But no crown ne say come off war and the wine. You come off for the wine. I mean, what I can be amount. Because the level of negligence in our hospitals one too many. Because Dr. Doyo we oh, I don't do job. On the pen. And they see people son watch a report in their file. This is a report. She me say ne ye bie kwan. Say ne ya no pay ya me no ka say ya. Obi experience. O share my ya Abraham Idonya me wa hwe abesu. If you should give people that space, sir, share your experience with us. What happened to you at the hospital? I'm telling you, what if you want to hear because because we have lost a lot of reasonable lives for no reason. Just because of negligence of duty. Just because of medical negligence. But edu time here, and that's all. There's one Mr. Kwame Appiah. Or no, edi ne husi one mo say, or bear one advocacy be. Nti advocacy for medical malpractice victims. Yes. Nti wa hospital. Na wa wusa hye de fa so no anya yie no frɛ no. O frɛ na ɔno akasa ebegyinam. Wasame do beka to say wasame de. Wasame nye da o tie asem na say nye do beka to say we de o de kokota emfa. He is the one doing that, but the no cry, no advocacy, no cry. Because look, to me now, one no extra. Nipa bako, no esa etimi katanya mieni. He is trying, but the level of negligence across so some predecessor, a yaw ne kofwa, a yaw kofwa frame. Awa ya resabia hudwa. And there, do one national one cassa one qua, and what this shepherd baby, and one are serving predators or those people have lost their lives just because of a certain doctor, a certain nurse who mishandled him anyhow, and at the end of the day, what your report to me, I talk about say no underlying sickness we, no was I agree with the kuno. Let's not say that. But who are you to challenge yourself when it's quoted from the Bible? See, say some focus and pray free Bible more. I wonder why so called challenge no. In the same way, say nurse ni and a doctor ni add in the pen. It's in the paper so na so statistics or reporter. Wonder why so called challenge that said the doctor. Because the doctor has said it and so be it. The nurse has reported to the doctor, so be it. And meanwhile, now Ekofo ewu ekofo ahwere won kwa ekofo eja pade ne omade hye papa binom Ephraim na everybody say ya me fa manyame ba me ka me fa manyame wo se bi brother sa wo sika yesey a wo ne hospital kase we kotwe manso o twekura gosi hwe eno ne ye hawa ye de tikrum ha no mo sei ntiera mitaka do mesraw wadaroma nipa na ohwere ne kwa na ye report ma wa kwaye banta bitu wo ne CEO na ene watumi ayi na di no respectfully doctors and nurses are not what duty as at that time. Men jawo mo nkwasa kwa. I know very well, sincerely, sir, your doctors they are doing fantastically well. They are doing so well. Because now be me yari and your doctor bia na kebia na kabentiase. Now be yari say bia na your doctor bia and a nurse ni bia na kebia won tiase. Now we be a god yari say your doctor bia ye na your nurses ni doctors for na for. Some of them are so brilliant, some of them are so super, they are good. But they do all the more show money pa. Near also the young man yourself. This is so unfortunate. About